love of Christ, we are sharing the power of Christ with others. And we do that when we recognize the power of God that is in us. The rich man here was only concerned with himself. He was selfishly focused on what he was able to do for himself. Even in his torment, he was only focused on his self and his relief. How many of us are concerned about someone else other than ourselves? You know, one of the things when we talk about evangelism, we always talk about evangelism as being out in the streets. But I submit to you that evangelism needs to be happening even in-house, even in our homes. How many of us knows someone in our very own family who needs Christ, but we have not to share the gospel with them? We tend to look at categories of people rather than looking at people as a whole. And one of the challenges for us is that all of us need Christ. And oftentimes when we talk about evangelism, we always talk about bringing new folk in. What about the folk that are suffering and hurting already inside? Or looking for relief. The last cry for relief is found in verse 27. He says, Father, he said, I then beg you, send of torment. It is interesting to me, we have a compassion for others when we find ourselves in trouble. Up until then, it's pressing for us to really think about somebody else. And see, one of the challenges that we have today is in our society, we have developed a society of silos where I'm more concerned with what's going on in my backyard than I am with what's going on in my neighbor's backyard. That's why we don't know our neighbors. And so the challenge for us in this text is to care about someone else before we find ourselves in that place of torment, that place of struggle. And I think the challenge here is really reflective of where we are in what God is saying to us. So we have three requests here, three pleas by ourselves. The rich man. One of the things that is so interesting to me is that the scripture never gives him a name, but it refers to Lazarus because Lazarus means with God, or God is with me. And I think the challenge to ask ourselves the question, what is our name? What is significant about our name? I think it's interesting because my legal name is Reginald Fletcher, but my Christian